Hello, good morning and welcome to BYD Dreams, a brand new journey, and it's going to be my journey following with the BYD Atto 3, which I'll be picking up in about 6 weeks time, something like that hopefully. And it's going to be mainly about that, but also possibly other electric vehicles. But I'm not sitting in an electric vehicle right now, I'm sitting in my outward going car, which is a Hyundai Bayon. And so this car came out in 2021, I think, was its original time it came out. So I was just going to give some impressions of this vehicle, of the ownership of this vehicle from the couple of months I've had it, and it's already an outgoing vehicle. But we'll go into why that is in a short while. Let's give it a start up so we can give you some impressions of the interior here of it. Let's turn down the aircon for a minute. So, yes, this is the ultimate spec, which is the highest spec you can get of the Hyundai Bayon, and that comes in comfort. I think it's premium, and this one is the ultimate. So this is the top spec car. Excuse the bags and rubbish in here. I mean, interior-wise, it's quite nice actually. Some quite nice quality seating here. I like the two-tone effect colour with the light grey at the lower half, and then the sort of darker grey up. It's pretty. It's okay. I mean, it's fairly soft touch on the door panels here. This is a bit more hard across here. Across the top, again here, this is all fairly hard plastic, but it's okay, you know. This is not an executive car or anything, but yeah. So that's the basic layout. So my impressions of the car, I've had this now for 3 months, I think it is. Got it in September, so that's October, November. We're into November now. Oh, it's only really 2 and a bit months. As you can see on I've only done 1,656 miles in it. I've been a few times to Bournemouth to see my son, who's going to university there. That's the kind of longest trip I think I've done in it, but I've also been to Birmingham in it, and which from where I live is about 60 miles. So I've done sort of those kinds of trips in the vehicle. So that's the screen there. The Hyundai systems are pretty good. This is my second Hyundai. I had a Hyundai Ioniq before this, all electric. So you might think, why are you going back into electric with a BYD Atto 3, which is an all-electric vehicle? Been in an electric car, come out of electric car into a petrol car, and then going back to electric. Well, I'll explain that as we go along in the series of videos, I guess. But yeah, let's just go over the interior of this vehicle first. A lot do walk arounds from the outside, but we're sitting in here now, so we'll do the interior. So some nice touch buttons down here, which you can hopefully see here. If it focuses out, I don't know if you can, but you've got your AC, airflow, internal airflow there, rear heated demister. And then you've got your general climate control buttons. So that's good that they're down there. And then above that, you've got obviously your temperature. So here you can do the amount of flow. And on this side, of course, you've got temperature control there. So you can go do that fairly easily without having to go into any screens to do that. When we come up onto the screen here, I won't go through all of this because obviously there's loads of this. Hyundais are out there everywhere on any. They're more or less all the same. But yeah, so you've got general, and it'll just give you the system you're on at the moment, date, time, all that kind of stuff. No problem there. Vehicle, which gives you your driver assistance stuff. So the parking safeties, all the safety aspects on this vehicle are really good. You've got blind spot detection, which is only available. I think it's only available on the Ultimate. Speed recognition. So if you're going above the speed, it starts flashing over here, where it's got nothing there at the moment because we're not moving. But that would be where you would see that. So if you go over the speed, it starts flashing to let you know you're going over speed. And then you've got forward safety features, so if you're getting anything close to anything, it will go off, and the same for the rear really. It's got a rear camera, which if I put it into reverse will come up. It's of okay quality. I wouldn't say it's amazing, but it's okay. So that's there. The sat nav is, like most of them, pretty generic. It's kind of okay, but it's nothing special, I would say. Most of the time you're going to plug into down here, you can plug into use onto this one here, you can plug in and use, in my case, Android Auto, but CarPlay as well. Got a 12 volt here, which is quite handy. This charging pad is brilliant. It's absolutely fantastic. It's one of the best wireless charging pads I know. It charges absolutely like lightning. It's so quick. I mean, the other day I just went 2 miles up the road and put about 10% on it. It's really fast, so I don't quite know what they're putting into that, but that's really excellent. Anyway, it's really, really good. So yeah, we'll let's come out of there a minute. So that's your navigation, sound, display, which just gives you your camera settings, blue light filter, brightness of course, which I always keep to max. So it's sort of there through the various things you're going through. So that's that. And let's go up here a minute. Map. Yeah, so as I say, that's the navigation and everything there. Media, so you can go onto there, and you can plug in your Bluetooth or whatever and work off of that, or of course Android Auto. If you've got Android Auto plugged in, you can be a Spotify and all that kind of stuff. So all that's pretty good. Down here with the gear shifters, so it's obviously fairly self-explanatory. You've got park, reverse, neutral and drive. In drive you can knock it over and use it in a kind of manual way if you need to, or if you want to. So that's all good. These cup holders here I actually don't like, because the reason being is you've got one quite large one for a bottle and one here which is a smaller one, which will take only the very narrowest virtually of pretty narrow cup really. So I've had to go out and buy a really narrow cup to fit in there, because myself and my wife, we both like a hot drink or coffee or something in a flask, you know, and this one's okay, but this one, it's really hard to fit anything in it. It's so small. So there's a little bit of a design fault there really. Probably some larger size ones with the little catches you tend to find in them that hold something in would have been a better idea there than that, because they're kind of limiting your options. If two people want a coffee, as an example, pretty much can't in there, so that's a bit of a thing. And while we're on the thing of storage and space, it's one of the gripes I have with this car. It's really poor in terms of its storage space. Really, really poor. You've got this here, which is just a very, very small. I mean, it's just got nothing there really. It's so tiny there. You can't get very much in there. At the moment, I've got a adaptable charger in there, a pound coin for the supermarkets, and that's about it really. Outside of that, it's pretty poor really. So you can't get much in there, and then also the door pockets are not the best either. As you can see, I've got a smallish bottle in there. You could get a big bottle in there, but as I say, if you're thinking of like a big bottle coming up here, it just doesn't seem to really kind of work. It's like all the storage in here is just not that great. On here, I don't like to put too much on here, because obviously that's a charging pad. I don't want to start lobbing loads of stuff on there, and you know, obviously there's probably won't damage it really, but I don't really like to use that much as a storage area if I can avoid it. So that's kind of a little look at that aspect from that point. So let's talk a little bit about the driving dynamics of this car before we do an exterior walk around. As you can see there, at the moment we're in eco. It starts up in economy mode every single time you get in the vehicle. So it has no memory setting in it, so it just starts up on eco. Now the issue I have with this is that where I live, I come out of my house into my car and I'm then going out onto a very major road. Now if I forget that it's in eco, which I do, because I'm one of them people who has an awful brain and forgets things so easily, and so I might have where I'm going on my mind, what I'm going to be doing that day, whatever it is, so I forget to move it off a vehicle. Now why is that important? Well, it's important in this vehicle because eco is just awful. It has actually nothing there. I don't even know why the setup for eco is even in existence in this vehicle, because it just will not go. And that's obviously pretty much the same with a lot of cars, of course. The eco modes tend to be a bit nah. But in this car, the reason why it's so important is it starts up in the eco, but also it's so powerless. So if you're pulling out onto a major junction and you've forgotten that it's there, you want to pull out into a gap as an example, you've got to get a hike on, and if you've forgotten that this is in eco mode, you're not going anywhere. So you're going to all of a sudden have a car that's a little bit away in the distance where you think there's enough gap to pull out on, and now you've got a car arriving pretty so that's one thing to think about with this particular vehicle. If you're thinking about getting a Hyundai Bayon, is that it starts up in eco, and you've got to make sure that you have that muscle memory really to keep making sure you turn it out of it. So it's got eco. Let's go through the modes now actually. So it's got eco. The driver modes are down here. So you've got driver mode there, you've got heated seats here and heated seats here. I think this is only available on the Ultimate. It might be on the Comfort as well, I'm not sure, because the Comfort's fairly well spec'd too. So I think the difference is like this different colour liner and all that. But the interior is quite nice. I mean, I've got no issues with the interior. I like all this going across here. It's all fairly hard plastics, a lot of it, but you know, this is a fairly cheap car really by today's standards, so you know, I've got no issue with that. So there we are. So eco mode, and then you've got that one there, which is, it doesn't actually show up what it is, but that's comfort. And then you've got sport, which all goes all red and sport comes up. I tend to drive it around mostly in comfort. I don't see a lot of difference between comfort and sport. Sharpens up the throttle a little bit, but that's about it. It doesn't seem to really do a great deal, so I just tend to drive it around in comfort as much as I possibly can. So that's it on that one. But as I say, the economy mode on this really is just unusable, I would say, virtually. You know, probably maybe where you can use it is when you're up to speed on a motorway and you're looking to you know, when you got up to speed kind of thing, to flick it into eco mode. In that scenario probably would be okay. And this car on a motorway or a dual carriageway or a straight road, it drives brilliantly. It's a real good typical Hyundai really. But as I say, but probably this car is fairly well positioned in terms of, well, I would like to say it's probably, when you reflect upon it, it's probably more of a city type car really, because we're going to go out and do an exterior view in a minute, and you'll see that actually the exterior is you'll actually see it's not a particularly big car. If you've not seen a Bayon before, if you're looking at Bayon, you'll know they're not very large cars, sort of Kona size, which interestingly this car is actually competing with its own company in Hyundai Kona, which is a bit more established and everything. So trying to work out where this car fits in the market is one thing that's worth mentioning really. But let's step out of the vehicle now and have a look at the outside of the vehicle, and we'll do a little walk around. 17-inch wheels on here. I've got my keys there, so that's gone off now. Actually, let's just turn that off. That's how I've only done 2 miles. That's 25 mph. So that will go up, of course, as you drive. Gets around about between 40 and 50 miles to the gallon, I would say. So 17-inch alloys, all right. And this is in mangrove green. This is the mangrove green colour. Let's go a step back so you can get a bit of a more decent look at it. So there we are. So this is the side. Typical Hyundai swoops, as you see here. Got this indented swoops and slashes, which are, of course, are very synonymous with petrol, in particular petrol Hyundais over the last few years. You can see it on the Tucson as well. My favourite part of this vehicle was the front. Nice and aggressive looking. I love the grille, and it just looks really nice with a Hyundai badge on the front there. So it's a nice vehicle in that respect. And then if we come round to the side, very similar to the front really. You've still got those slashes in there. This is a 48 volt hybrid, mild hybrid I should say, so it should give you a bit more power really, but I don't notice it's giving you that really. It's a bit of a more closer look at the wheels, but they're okay. Then if we come along to the side of the vehicle, more slashes and swoops. It's dual colour, so it's black tops with the roof bars, and then you've got the main paint colour obviously coming down there. There's the rest of the main body colour. Then if we come to the back, this is the divisive part about it, is it's got this kind of big bum section here where it dips and then comes away. So from the side, as you can see, and that's not for everyone, I actually quite like it actually. So when I went for this car, I went mostly for the looks actually. I think it's a nice looking car. So at the rear there's your LEDs here, your LED brake lights here, and main lights. This strip that goes right through the middle doesn't light up, it's just decoration really. Unfortunately it doesn't light up really, I guess. And so all in all, that's kind of the exterior of it really. Let's just have a quick look in the rear passenger with these bags again. Oh, now it's actually fairly, for the size of vehicle, it's actually fairly roomy in the back here. It's not too bad. But like I say, it's an okay vehicle for, you know, a couple and a couple of children maybe. I certainly wouldn't think you would want to get 3 adults at the back here, but 2 reasonable size adults or children are totally fine, even teenagers. No problem at all there. We'll have a look in the boot in a minute. So you've got one USB, just the one, no ventilation, which really, when you consider this is the top spec Ultimate, it's a bit of a, probably you could do with 2 USBs down here and maybe at least some ventilation slots for ventilation at the rear here would have been nice. So you would kind of expect that on the top spec of a car at the very least, probably even standard really. Mat pockets here at the back, putting things down there, but it's only on the passenger side, not on the driver's side, which is a bit weird. Rear lights here, if we can put it on, which is just, I think, halogen. I don't think it's LED or anything. Certainly LED on the front ones. And then if we come here, there's no center console for coming, there's no center pull down here for cup holders, which again is another thing. And again, we're at the so that means that people in the back are limited for the space for the drinks. You've got a little section down here, which you can see is pretty tight. I mean, you don't get anything much more than a small bottle down there. So storage is quite a failure, I think, in this car. There isn't enough storage. It's one of the reasons I'm sort of getting rid of this car again, really. The same theme with the lighting, same theme with the dual colours at the back here, the light grey at the back, which is nice. It's got Bose speakers in here, which sound really good as well, by the way. They really do. They've got a nice sound on them. And it's got a bass speaker in the boot. So that's all pretty good. But here's a little look at the front from here. So as you can say, there's nothing wrong with the looks of this car, I think. I've always said that. It's some of the driving dynamics, that eco scenario. It's just got... The thing is, it's based on it's a city car. But when you really think about it, it's actually better on longer journeys than it is moving around the city, because it lacks that power. kind of thing, really. It's, if you want to just make your way off of, and I know I'm coming from the Ioniq before that, which is electric, which of course is more than powerful enough. But even taking all those things into consideration, you know, it just seems mapped out in terms of its, in terms of the various modes. It just doesn't seem to be mapped out very well. Eco is just too lacking in power for my liking, and comfort's not a lot better, and sport just sharpens up the throttle a little bit, but it's nothing special. But once you get it out onto a main road, a main A road, or dual carriageway or a motorway, it's a brilliant car to drive. It really is. It just cruises along, nice suspension, sort of set up really for much more of a softer feel, which I don't have a problem with, really. So, and even around town, it's great in that respect. So, yeah, so there's a little look around at the Hyundai Bayon. This is the very first video on this channel. I don't know who it's going to, if it'll reach anybody, but hopefully it does. And I'll be back with the journey I'm going to be having with the BYD Atto 3, which is going to be my next vehicle, which I'll be picking up from Birmingham probably in about 5 or 6 weeks time. So I'll do a video of the picking of the vehicle up, my first impressions, and then my journey that we're going to have with the vehicle. But the channel moving forward, to just give a bit more background to the channel, I'm not an automotive journalist at all, but I'm someone who has a love of cars and an interest in cars, in particular electric cars, really, if I'm honest. So I'm hoping to have more opportunities to review other electric vehicles and maybe spend a bit of time with them. But there'll also be a lot of videos on the Atto 3 and my journey with it, really. So anyway, like, subscribe please, and hit that notification bell. Will be really appreciated, and hopefully this channel will grow. Anyway, speak to you soon, and take care.